This is the Sage Spectrum C fly reel, and it's the cheapest reel in the Sage line. Today, I'm here to review it. Sage has been making a version of the Spectrum C for a long time. They've always had an entry-level, die-cast and painted fly reel, and this is the latest iteration. And frankly, they've always been a really great value. Today, we're going to find out if, in fact, this reel is a great value. We're going to do that by going through our 5 factors, starting with the drag. And the drag on this Spectrum C is pretty good. It's got Sage's now standard single turn drag, though if you really look closely, it's like more of a 9/10 of a circle than a full circle because you can't quite get all the way back to the 1. That said, if you're a fan of that single turn drag, you've got it here. It is also a fully sealed drag, which is a really nice touch on a reel that costs $165. And while there are definitely some drags in this price bracket that are really closer to Click Paul's, this one provides a very reasonable amount of strength. I'd put it in that 3 to 4 pound range if I were guessing. And that's going to be pretty much all you're going to need for freshwater fishing. And it's dialed in such a way that you're not really going to have to worry about breaking fish off unless you're fishing really light tippet. Also a drag that is very smooth, again, to stop you from breaking those fish off. If you were to look at this reel purely from a drag perspective, as a freshwater reel, it's really fairly excellent. It really doesn't leave me wanting much. So let's talk about the spool. I believe Sage still calls this a large arbor, and I mostly agree with that. It's definitely a bit bigger than what you would traditionally think of as a mid arbor, like say the Sage Trout, but you're not going to get that ultra high speed retrieve that some of the newer reels are coming out with. We've got a 3.3-inch max diameter, a nice narrow 1-inch width, and that's finished off with a 2.25-inch arbor. And again, those dimensions aren't massive, and this is not a massive reel, but you're still gonna get a retrieval rate of about 7.8 inches per turn, which is pretty good. It's not going to be ultra fast, but it's way better than those mid arbors and way, way better than those traditional arbors. That's going to be about 150 turns for your 100-foot fly line. In terms of backing capacity, this reel, which is the 5/6 size, holds a very reasonable amount of backing. You're going to be able to fit 150 yards of 20-pound Dacron with your weight forward 5-weight line, and that's going to be plenty for virtually any freshwater fishing situation. And frankly, you could even use that for bonefish. Overall, the spool design on the Spectrum C is again pretty good, but not the absolute fastest. And frankly, you wouldn't expect it at this $160 price point. So let's move on to the weight, which is also not terrible. This reel comes in at about 5 ounces, which is definitely not overly heavy. Frankly, there are reels that are way more expensive that weigh more than this. But there are also reels like the Lamson Lightspeed that are much lighter. This Spectrum C is just a really nice compromise. It's going to be a weight that is familiar to most people and will work well to balance virtually any rod if you're into balance. My own personal preference would be for a lighter reel, but again, at this price point, it's going to be hard to find that with a full drag. This review is brought to you by Trident Travel, which is our new destination travel service where you'll get our expert advice, planning, and guidance at no additional cost. That means no credit card fees, no booking fees, and for a limited time, you'll even earn Trident rewards on your travel bookings. So with every trip you book, you'll be earning valuable points that you can use towards free tackle here at Trident. Recently, we've had some clients go on some absolutely fantastic trips like permit fishing in Belize, Atlantic salmon fishing in New Brunswick, and trout fishing in Alaska. So if you're thinking about taking a fly fishing trip, Trident Travel is the way to do it. We've got a ton of great destinations, excellent service, and even more destinations being added every month. Check us out at tridentflyfishing.com/travel. Up next is the sound, and well, let's have a listen. The sound on the Spectrum C is fairly muted. If you're looking for loud and lots of feedback, you're not going to get it here. It does have a nice differentiation between the incoming and the outgoing, which I think is a nice touch, again, especially for the price point. And last but not least are the ergonomics, and this reel here actually has fairly good ergonomics. You've got a handle that's nice and easy to grab. It's not the biggest one out there, but it is totally fine, especially for those freshwater fishing situations. We've also got a drag knob that is pretty nice. Some of the higher end Spectrum reels do have a better drag knob, but not substantially so. Frankly, Sage has done a great job on all of their drag knobs across their entire reel range. They went from sort of a 5-spoke, okay drag knob to one that is a lot easier to grab, and it's just a really great design. Chaining the spool is also really easy. You just pop it off here and it comes right off. And it snaps right back into place just as easily. From an ergonomic and design standpoint, again, this is a pretty good reel. So you might be asking yourself, how is this reel so cheap? Why should I not get this over some of the more expensive reels? And for the occasional angler, I think that's probably a great question, and maybe you shouldn't. But if you're fishing this reel really hard, the one thing that is going to hold it back is durability. With a cast reel, you're going to get a reel that frankly bends more easily than a machine reel. It's also going to be a lot easier to get bends and dings and things that will affect your performance. So if you're taking this on a big trip to, say, Alaska, you'd probably want to bring a backup. If you're fishing your local trout stream, this is going to do the job, and if you drop it and it breaks, well, just go home. And beyond that, there really aren't any downsides to the Spectrum C. So if you're looking for a great value reel and you're not worried about that extreme amount of durability, this might be the one for you. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, hit the like button and please subscribe to our channel because it really helps us out. If you've got questions about this Spectrum C or any Sage reel, give us a call at 888-413-5211 or email us 24/7 at support@tridentflyfishing.com. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.